It's like I said in many previous videos. There's some things you can control and change, and there's some things that you can create. And there's quite a few things that are just out of your control that you can't change, that you have no power to create or stop or block or, mediate things or try to modify it or repair it, replace it. It's just out of your control. Like they say, the old saying goes, the devil made me do it. Well, there is no devil. It's actually just source being a teacher testing you, see whether or not you are where you think you are and where you need to be, and so on and so forth. But you have to understand something. You're a human being. You've been given feelings and emotions for a reason. You know what I mean? So you're going to understand that in a situation that you know that you can't control that's upsetting you, the only power you have in a situation that you cannot control is the power of how you act, react, or how you allow it to affect you. That's it. You know, um, what I've understood is that sometimes you get emotional and you get tied into these things, and then the darkness pulls you in because that's what it's designed to do. It wants to pull you down, especially when you're moving forward in your life. I've said it before. It's like you're right at the precipice of something really amazing happening, where it's going to take you into a new chapter, a new area, a new level. A whole new uh, just a whole new book. You're going to just close the chapter of the old book and you start on a brand new book, a whole new journey, in your life. And then you see like all of this stuff come up and people start to try to fight with you. And, then all this doubt and uncertainty starts entering into your mind because your mind belongs to a satanic matrix. It's the ordinary self. Your higher self is your soul. So that's the reason why you have that conflict, because the soul is trying to get the mind to say connect to the higher self so we can all flow forward, and the mind is like, no, we're not going to do this. you know I mean, everybody has meltdowns. I've had them too, man. I had one tonight. Just like after a while it just gets to be a lot. It does. It's years and years and years of it, and you don't see anything. But don't forget, the universe doesn't recognize illusions known as time, space, and distance. So, it's not going to give that any validity. So the universe has perpetuity, man. That means unlimited time, eternity to do what it does. And it does it very well because we're all creations of this universe that's just always assessing us constantly. But the inherent dilemma you're going to confront is the mind, the challenges of the mind. Everything, it comes from the mind, as far as all of your complications and all your hindrances, your blockages, your problems, your delays, your resistance, friction, all of that stuff is generated from the mind, because you have to understand something. The mind is like, how do I put it? It's like an oblivious ally to the darkness. Think of somebody who doesn't have any intelligence, and the darkness comes up to them and say, "Yeah, man, I'm going to be your best friend, this and that." And the mind is like, "Okay," and just goes along with it because it's naive and innocent. It doesn't know any better. So then this darkness implants all the stuff, attaching these things, right? And the mind doesn't even know what's going on, and it's carrying around all this stuff, unbeknownst to the mind that you're not that it's now connected to this insidious, malevolent, evil, core cult. And the mind is just, acting as an advocate or a conduit for these things, unbeknownst to the mind. But the mind doesn't know any better. So this is the only thing it recognizes, and this is the only thing that it realizes is the only life there is. That's it. And I've made videos about this. So my thing is this: you don't have. Let me tell you something. I always tell you, the viewer, that you have powers that are unimaginable. I'm not talking about just manifesting and healing yourself. It goes way beyond that, man. It goes way beyond that. You don't have to want anything on this earth. You feel me? You don't have to need anything from this earth or their system. That's where you know that you're untouchable. When you can honestly say to yourself inside your soul through your heart, I don't need this world. You know, I'm not going to fall for the trap and follow the plan and be a follower of the formula that they want you to get pulled into. You don't have to want any of that stuff. You don't have to need any of it. Just be okay being you. That's it. Then you've arrived, man. That's beyond the fourth dimension. That's way beyond. That's Christ consciousness right there, man. You don't need this world. You don't need this system. You don't want anything they have to offer you because it's meaningless garbage anyway. Besides everything you running after your whole life, you ain't taking none of it with you when you go. So what kind of value does it actually hold in the eyes of the universe? None. It has no intrinsic value anywhere in the universe except in their system because that's how they control you. This is what they use to control you with this stuff. So, when you get to that place in your life and you're inside yourself to say, I don't need anything or anyone or any type of materialism or this or that or money, I'm not letting any of it control me, man. That's when you know you've arrived. That's the truth. But that isn't going to stop the darkness from trying to activate your emotional triggers. Get inside your head and play some freaking tap dancing games in there. Happens to everybody. The key to remember is maintain your cool. It's just a stupid little game being played by God. Because when you say devil, you're saying God. You know what I mean? You're saying Jesus, that's source. Heaven, hell, it all comes to the same place. And it all goes to the same place. Every soul returns to God because every soul came from source. That's an unavoidable truth. So when you get in times of distress and you feel like having a meltdown or a blow up, you just got to check yourself, man. You got to say, listen, this isn't worth it. It isn't worth it. Like today, because of what they're doing with the microwaves. And like I've been saying, folks, you think me crazy? I'm telling you straight. They've been planning this for a long time. This is nothing new. That's why you feel this heaviness in the air and everything with the eclipse on Monday with the 3 rockets that they sent up. You think that was just for surveillance and photographic surveys and all that? No, there was nothing to do with that. That was the cover. They're into some insidious stuff. So, they're always trying to take us, take out human beings, man, and blame it on act of God or act of nature or something like that. But I'm just saying, you don't even have to worry about your breakthrough, your blessings, or I'm so close to. You know what? You need to release yourself from that because that's your prison right there. That's your prison. The darkness is the universe, and the universe is the light. So it's all working for the same freaking team. So I'm telling you straight, there ain't no enemies or nothing like that. There's no such thing. It's all source. So when you get to that point, you can say to God, I don't need your blessings. Thank you. I don't need your breakthrough. I can handle my life on my own. And then like I said, you create your sacred space. It isn't just for manifesting, man. You can meditate in there. You can live in there forever. You can do whatever you want. That's your area. That's your untouchable area, vibrational environment that you create from the bottom up, whatever you want in there, whatever kind of energy. If you want to invite people in there, whatever you want. This is a place that you can call your happy place. See, whatever you want, but don't refer to it as something imaginary because it is not imaginary. It's real. And it doesn't have to be the way they tell you it has to be, that you have to have a big house and lots of money and fleets of cars and you should want this, and even the universe. You don't have to accept what the universe is offering you. If you don't like the offer, say respectfully decline. No, thank you. I'm going to make my own way. And you know how many people do this? They just say, no, I'm not going to take it. Not going to take it. I'm not going to accept it. Thank you very much, but I'm not. But the one thing that you should find yourself in is a place that you are benefiting yourself by doing what's right for you. Listen, we're all going to fall in life. I don't care what you say. People snap, they get under your skin, they activate your emotional triggers. You're a human being, man. They like to tug at your rope. You know what I mean? But you got to just allow them to be your teachers because that's exactly what's going on. It ain't nothing about, okay, if I pass this test, do I get my blessing now? I mean, come on, what are you, a trained chimp? That's what I'm saying. The power of not needing anything from this whole planet. Conscious detachment from both the physical and the metaphysical. That's power right there, man. Then you leave the universe in a place of being just perplexed. Like, what? Then nobody can control you, man. And there's people like that. You don't see them too often, but there are people on this planet like that. They're just like, listen, nothing's tying me to nothing. I don't need your system. I don't need your money. I don't need your corporations and your governments and your false promises and your phony evidence and all your nonsense and your 3.2 children and your plan and your formula for everybody's life that they have to follow like obedient robots and slaves that they are. They can't think for themselves. I see this happening all the time, man. I've been seeing this happen for over 5 decades. They don't even question. They just blindly follow this stuff. If you want to be with somebody, be with them. If you want to get married because you want to. If you want children with them, have children because you want to. Not because society tells you have to do these things, because now you're falling in line with the agenda and the propaganda that you're buying into, man. That's exactly what's going on. So you get yourself to a place where you say, you know what? I don't need any of this stuff. I just don't. And then you're free. Because when you came here, they pumped your head full of this stuff. Marriage and kids and mortgage and this and just nailing this stuff into your subconscious. Okay, that's what I want. Is this what I want? Okay, this is success. This is what you should go after. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And that's where you spend your whole life making money and filling that role and playing that part, in that movie that never ends, that's making them crazy bank, but making you emotionally broken and just destitute and distraught and all kinds of wiped out and spent and fatigued and tired and drained. That's why people have unhappy marriages and they get divorced, because it's not a natural union. If you want to be with someone, then be with that person because you want to be, not because society is dictating to you what you should do because everybody else is doing it, so you have to do it too. Why do you think the divorce industry is 10 times more than the marital industry? Because people, once the novelty of the sex wears off, they're like, what else do we got? We got nothing. You can't force two people to get together. This is against the universe, against your own intrinsic nature. If you want to be with someone, be with that person because you're in love with them and you want to be with them. You spend the rest of your life. That's a beautiful thing. That's a rare thing to have. If you have that in your life, God bless you. That's a gift, big time gift. But I'm saying to the people who just buy into this system, I remember I attended a wedding. Or was it back in like 91? I knew these two people for a long time, and they got married at the St. Patrick's Cathedral in Manhattan. Then they had their reception at, I think it was Lemaire's in Brooklyn. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, it was like $150,000 wedding or something like that. And back then, that was a lot of money. I think within a year they were divorced. She started, playing around, and she just got bored. And I was like, yo, you see this? And they didn't even have the money to give their photographer at the wedding and nothing like that, the videographer. None of that got paid because they didn't even have the money to pay it, and they were already divorced because it was an unnatural union. It was forced on them because society says this is what you should do, so follow the rules. And your soul's like, no. And it's the same thing here. I'm trying to convey to you. I know this message is a little longer than I wanted it to be, but the darkness is always going to try to get you to do things to yourself, to mess you up. But see, my thing is this. I say to the darkness, you could do whatever you want. I'm not going to be putting myself in a position where I'm going to be, exploited or manipulated like this. So I'm not going to have addictions or obsessions or compulsions or habitual behaviors or routines or patterns that I follow that are predictable, that you can take a hold of me. And I'm not going to need or want or desire anything from this entire earth. It's a beautiful experience, but when I leave, I'm not taking any of it with me except the energy that I came here with. You know what I mean? Hopefully that I could touch many, many lives before I go. That's my hope. But that's the only thing that really matters to me. It isn't material this, or money that, or cash this, a house that, a car that. That's all meaningless nonsense. They program that into your head to control you with it. Think of that as like like the Spider-Man character, the octopus, where he's got those metal tentacles with those metal claws at the end. Boom! Like they just bury this into you, just embedded these steel claws with these tentacles that are just sucking the life out of you. That's like a puppet connecting to your brain, And this is what you should want. This is what you're going to need, and you're going to follow this. You're going to do that, And that's why so many people are disconnected from their happiness and miserable and suicidal and depressed and angry, because look what you're connected to. It's a three-dimensional puppet show, man. It's crazy. So my thing is that you just get yourself to a place where you say, I don't need any of this stuff. And they can't even touch you, brother. They can't touch you, sister. I'm telling you. It's truth. I'm speaking truth. You don't need jewelry. You don't need a brand new car. This is a debt-based society for a reason. Look how much debt Americans have accrued. More now than ever before. Credit cards, home loans, student loans, this, that, that. They just bury you in this stuff. That's a money pit that you can never get yourself out of. And look what the jobs they're paying. $15 an hour before taxes. You know what that is after taxes? That's like $9 an hour in 2024. You know what kind of salary that is from like 1974, man? I mean, this is all done by design. Amazon and Uber, all of them paying nothing. And you got to use your own materials and stuff. And they work you like a dog and a half. You don't see these CEOs making $9 an hour. They're making $350 million a day tax-free because they pay themselves in dividends, which is a non-taxable income. They don't pay their employees in dividends. They're paying you a salary from 1974 before taxes with no benefits. You see where this is all going. So that's what I'm saying. I understand you need to eat and you need to have a roof. That's a given. So you do what you need to do in that department. But what I'm saying is I'm speaking in the terms that where you're not letting them exploit you anymore. No, I don't have any addictions or obsessions or, habits that you can exploit and manipulate me and use me. Nope, I'm not doing it. And the darkness is no different. The darkness exploits you metaphysically. This system will exploit you physically, and the darkness will do it metaphysically. Don't fault yourself for being human. Don't be hard on yourself for having meltdowns. Don't be angry at yourself for blowing your top. And don't blame yourself for mistakes you make because you are human. That's why you're here, to have these experiences in this form, which is inherently dysfunctional. And it's okay. Honor your feelings and respect your emotions. You've been given these things for a reason, to use them. So use them wisely. But your power lies in how you act, react, respond, or you allow things to affect you when you are confronted with situations, circumstances, events, experiences that are far out of the range of your control. My thing is, don't give it any energy and won't be any energy. Silence is the way to go, and distance is always the treasure. So whenever you see these people coming a million miles away, pull a 180 and head in the opposite direction. And don't give them your time, your attention, your effort, or your energy. That's where your real power lies. God bless.